Hello, my name is Tsimboukas. I am a professor in the Agricultural University of Athens. I would like to thank you for inviting me to participate in this very interesting forum on the agri-food industry, and especially in the region I come from, that is Thessaly. As a panel that is up to the present mentioning on about financing, I cannot contribute to this topic, but what I can talk about is some examples of how can farmers save save money and improve their systems. And I believe that banks should be on the side of the farmers to help them do so. My presentation refers to the agricultural advisory system. It is an issue that was discussed. I listened to Tassos in the morning session on the need to provide agricultural consulting, and from others as well. And then the second panel, the agricultural consultancy system, was also discussed. But I've heard that there is not a target in such a system. I believe that there is a target, or at least there should be a target: environmental, social, and economic targets. Namely, to improve the farmer's income, and only the farmer's income, period. All of us help achieve this. And an agricultural advisory system is about to be activated after lots of years of planning. And the target is not to find jobs for my colleagues, the agronomists, but to help the farmers' processes. And the goal is also to help increase their financial, economic, and environmental conditions. Let us see the importance of the agricultural advisory system. We say that a lot of things are needed, but we must see the bigger picture of what are the problems of Greek agriculture. There is technical inefficiency and the scale inefficiency. These two were measured by the university from European networks that monitor agricultural holdings in Greece and worldwide. The FADN network, for example. So there are lots of years of measurements according to which there is 76% of pure technical inefficiency, and the scale inefficiency is 89%. Let's see what this technical inefficiency means. This high degree of technical inefficiency is the irrational use of consumables. So there is waste of inputs, mainly consumables, that are used every day. There are lots of examples: unnecessary spraying, seeds that do not need to be used, irrigation that is not needed, and so on. And a big part of inefficiency is in livestock farming. So in both sectors of livestock farming, that is animal feed and livestock breeding, there are inefficiencies in both of these two sectors. So this waste observed is increased nowadays with price increases and the increase in the use of energy. And maybe this will be the case for the foreseeable future. If we want to measure technical inefficiency, on a national level, we could save 1.1 billion euros annually. That is 25% of the net added value produced in our country by agriculture and livestock farming, or 55% of the annually, 55% of resources waste, as discussed in the previous panels. So we are lacking 1.1 billion euros, which could be used if we were technically efficient. Moving on. Moving on to the scale inefficiency. Now, this problem is a problem of investment. We have noticed throughout the years that the agricultural holdings that make investments, which are usually enhanced in the framework of improvement projects, so the increase in the average efficiency is not noticed because there are there's a huge asset acquisition comparing to the size of the holdings. We know that there are farmers buying machinery costing thousands of euros who then stay inactive in the warehouse. It's not only the cost of acquisition of this machinery, but they have also huge amortizations that are borne by the producer. Of course, one might say that we have a small scale, so we need machinery, but there is also the collective effort. For example, a group of producers that could help save in terms of cost by collectively acquiring equipment. I believe that in this condition is also partly due to the banking sector, because the banking sector wanted to safeguard loans via collateral, but without actually having a financial and technical assessment of whether the business plan was feasible or not. Mr. Vlonzos mentioned to the yes, things could have been better. Not only in terms of evaluation by the Ministry of Rural Development, but from the banks themselves that do provide investments in the agricultural sector, because in essence we may lead the farmers towards disaster. Now, the cause for all problems. The irrational planning and generally improper organization of agricultural holdings, especially in the case of older farmers. And the second cause is the lack of the necessary technical and financial consultancy towards the leaders of agricultural holdings. I'm not only mentioning technical consultancy, I'm also referring to financial consultancy. After the 80s, the situation was even worse because the agricultural application service of the Ministry of Rural Development was abolished, and it was mainly focused on subsidy management. So the operation of a new agricultural advisory system is expected, and let us hope that it will operate efficiently. It is very important for the Greek agriculture to have an effective exploitation of this industry. In the Agricultural University of Athens, we tried to have a pilot application of a solution to this problem. So the beginning of this initiative was a donation by the Stavros Niarchos Foundation. And this was in the framework of the new agriculture for the new youth project. So we managed to conduct lots of activities apart from research, which we already do in the university. So we had business plans drafted, and then we had consultancy provided. This was for everyone who wanted to actively participate professionally in agriculture. The team that worked on this consisted of professors of the Agricultural University of Athens, and we have professors among us today, as well as 7 associates with undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD qualifications, and ranging from plant production, livestock production, finance, marketing, and entrepreneurship fields. In 3 years, this pilot effort was active in 12 areas in Greece. The northern part was Grevena, Karditsa, Trikala, Thessaly in general. And the effort was to involve new people in this effort from 18 to 40 years old who wanted to engage in agriculture, and they were usually of a higher educational level. Most of them were either graduates or owners of a Master of Arts. There's a series of projects that we performed. I'm moving on. So in the third stage, how were the people chosen for consultancy? Of course, it was mainly if we saw a genuine interest, if they wanted to proceed with implementation of their business plans. And we also conducted interviews to assess whether they have business acumen. Now you see the different phases of consulting. The first step was to record the current situation. At this point, we saw the technical gap that we needed to address. So we proposed a relevant consultancy in step 2. Then at step 3, we had monitoring of how the consultancy was implemented. And in the end, there was a final assessment of the consultancy, both on technical and the financial aspects. Now, moving on really fast, I would like to show you 3 examples of our consultancy and its results. The first example is the implementation. Both of these 3 took place in Western Thessaly. apart from one which was in Katowice. So we implemented artificial rearing in livestock farming. And we also consulted in aromatic pharmaceuticals and on processing. As I said, implementation of artificial rearing. So there was a there were milk savings by replacing natural milk with powdered milk. This allowed us to have an increase of 4,500 euros per goat, leading to an equal increase in the income per goat. We helped in the creation of a small-scale milk processing unit. There were 500 sheep. So our consulting was about the founding, that is, legal actions required, finding the necessary container-type equipment. There were also trial cells of products. We would go to the market positioning, but unfortunately COVID had stopped us. And the third example, we improved the current feed ration of animals. And we already mentioned the technical efficiency. What happened here, we applied a rational feed ration in comparison to the feed ration applied by the producer at the first place. So the feed ration production cost was reduced by 40%. Milk production was not affected, but in any case, we reduced the cost by 40%. So, in turn, net profit of the unit were doubled. So, to cut a long story short, this whole consulting thing, in order for it to be efficient, we asked for cooperatives to participate because this was the only way for us to be properly organized on a local level and cooperate with livestock farmers. And these initiatives cumulatively improved the performance and all of the livestock breeders. I would like to thank you for your attention and patience.